Live every moment. Franchise Hockey Manager 7, officially licensed by the NHL. Feel every moment with a brand new 2D engine. New this season, historical international tournaments. Relive or rewrite the past. A revamped custom league. Add more leagues at various levels to create your own universe. A new scouting interface. Finding great players has never been easier. And by popular demand, new features that you requested. Farm team control. Historical editing. Updated for the 2020-2021 season for every NHL club as well as international and minor leagues too. And so much more. Live every moment. Feel every moment. Act in every moment. All on the only NHL licensed PC game.
What is happening, everybody? Welcome to the official unveiling of Franchise Hockey Manager 7. We are so happy to be here with you tonight. And when I say we, hi, everybody. I'm Rich Grisham. I am here with the producer of Franchise Hockey Manager 7, Mr. Jeff Riddles. Jeff, how are you?
I'm good, Rich.
And we are also here, of course, with our good friend, the community manager, Adam. Adam, how are you, my man?
I'm excited, Rich.
This is going to be great. I am so excited to be here with you guys and to be here with everybody tonight for the official unveiling of Franchise Hockey Manager 7. Now, I know that everybody knew that Franchise Hockey Manager 7 was going to come out. That's all well and good. But what nobody knows about yet is all of the great stuff that is happening in the brand new version of Franchise Hockey Manager. Before we get to talking about all of the great stuff, real quick, I just want to give Jeff and Adam a quick victory lap because Franchise Hockey Manager 6 was by far the most successful version of Franchise Hockey Manager ever in terms of users and sales and everything. Jeff, what did Franchise Hockey Manager 6 really teach you? And what did you really learn from the huge influx of new people that went heavy into Franchise Hockey Manager 7?
Well, I think one of the things we learned was that people really want a lot of customization to the game and the ability to control what's going on. And I mean, the pattern we followed so far is, make a big innovation one year and then sort of follow up and enhance on that in the year after. And this was sort of the follow-up year, so we got to polish a lot of things. But now this year we're back to adding something big.
Adding something big is right. Adam, you have been dying for this reveal for weeks and months, and it's finally here. How are you feeling?
Rich, I'm very excited to show the new InGame Engine, which is something I know Jeff has been hard at work for many months. So while we're talking here, I'm just going to pull up a game, and I started a new season and just going to put on a game here between Detroit and Montreal so we can have that as a background for people to watch as we continue to talk.
Yeah, so let's get right to it, okay? No more messing around. There's lots of good stuff, lots of new features, lots of new options, lots of cool stuff going on. But let's jump into what to me is the thing that leaps off the screen, and that is what we are seeing right now. There is a brand new 2D in-game engine that is completely built from the ground up. Jeff Riddles, this is huge. This is something that we and the community and everybody has wanted for so long. You have poured your heart and your soul into making this happen. Talk to me about what the 2D engine is, what it means, and maybe even a little bit about what it took to actually bring it to life.
Well, I mean, this goes back to sort of an experimental project that Sebastian and I started working on a couple of years ago. We wanted to see if it was possible to do something like this with the kind of game that FHM is. It's where we need very realistic stats and a lot of strategic content. And Actually, it's odd it's going so slow here. A little surprised. I think we're getting some kind of a delay or something with Adam's stream. But no. But anyhow, that went reasonably well. So we were able to build on that. And starting, yes, a little over a year ago now, we started building this for FHM7. Just to give you an idea of the complexity of it, FHM6, the old engine broke the ice down into, I think it was 24 zones. Yeah, 24 zones total, just to keep track of where the puck is and what's going on and where approximately where each player was. This tracks something like 18,000 separate areas of the ice. So there's, we can track the players much more precisely, show them show you exactly where they are at every moment. Somebody picked up a penalty there. You can see a guy sitting in the penalty box. Still working on a few things. Icings that's going a little slower than I want right now. And keep in mind that this is still something we're changing day to day. And we just made some changes to it today. So the occasional odd thing may pop up as we're watching this live.
Yep. So so where I was going to go with this is, so there's a lot that's going on here, right? So it's not as simple as just saying, okay, let's just take what's happening in the engine and render it on the ice, right? There's multiple layers.
Adam there is just sim to the end of the game. Adam, if you want to go back to the box score for a second, if you can.
Sorry, I can't. I just jumped into something else.
You could just sim it here, and it'll just do the quick one here. I should add, and that lets me mention that you still have the option of using the old. Don't view it, just sim it.
Well, too late. Sorry, I'll do it on the next one. Okay, keep going.
Yeah. Okay. But you do have the option of still using the old engine. One of the things with the new engine is it takes, well, at least on my system, about 2.5 seconds to simulate a game, which doesn't seem that long, but it adds up over the course of an NHL season. So to do an NHL season alone, you'd need about 60 minutes. And if you've got all the leagues running, that's a lot more games. So it would get, unless you've got a really high-end system, would take a little while to get all through them. So you do have the option, and it's the default right now in the setup, where you use the old sim engine to sim out games that you don't want to watch.
Right.
So you still get the speed and the accuracy of that, but you can also watch anything you do want to watch in the new engine.
For sure. And already a good question in the chat. Hey, can we put players' names to show up above their squares? And the answer to that is, well, over time, right? Just like everything, we're gonna deliver this. We're gonna iterate on it, right? Like this is the very first version of this. It's taken it's had a couple, 2 or 3 different looks and feels already until we've gotten to where it is right now. Isn't that right, Jeff?
Yeah, and one of the things we want to do with those player icons is make them customizable. So if you want to put something else in there, design your own, we'll get that in. It's not ready to go yet, but that's something that's like a very short-term project that we want to get changed.
Right. So we are working on this, continuing to work on it, but it is something that we are all very excited about. And again, this is the kind of thing that, it takes a lot of time, resources, and energy to put in place to get from what happens in the game and then to what happens on the ice and to show it unveiling in real time. And it's fantastic. And I'm so excited for it because, again, there's a lot of different reasons that it's fun, but also like somebody just, to be able to stream it, like streaming is just really cool. And to me, I think it's even a game changer from that perspective. I mean, Adam, you stream this game for a living, right? So, I mean, I got to imagine that you're pretty excited that you're going to be able to sort of, almost do a play-by-play with in real time as this is happening.
Oh, absolutely.
By the way, I love Jeff. I'm sorry to cut you off, Adam. I'll let you get back to it. I love how the dudes run off, hop off the bench and onto the ice. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's been something we've heard people request and want to see, and so I've been very excited as soon as Jeff told me, he started to work on this, and waiting to see how things have turned out. And there's so many little things that have come along, and things still to come as well with it that are very exciting.
And so I should have mentioned this at the top, but I sort of was too excited to get into all the different details. But yes, it is Franchise Hockey Manager 7 can be pre-ordered right now. You can see the pre-order link in the in the chat right there. Thank you, everybody who's pre-ordering it. We really appreciate that. The game officially ships worldwide on December 16th, 2 days from now. So 2 weeks from now, not 2 days, 2 weeks from now.
Jesus, don't do that to me.
Yeah. 2 weeks from now, December 16th is when it'll be available. You can get it directly from us at OTP Developments. If you pre-order it right now, you get 10% off. If you're a Steam person, no sweat. Put it on your Steam wish list, and you will still get that 10% discount for the first week as well. So you either way, you either pre-order it or wish list it and pick it up in that first week. You get your 10% off.
And actually, it'll be overlapping with the Steam Christmas sale, so that will.
I don't know what you're talking about. Never heard of it. Never heard of that.
Steam Crystal Sale doesn't exist. Never mind.
Doesn't exist. Exactly right. So, so the 2D engine is obviously a big deal. There's a lot more that's going on in Franchise Hockey Manager 7 as well. A lot more. One of those things is a brand new scouting interface. Jeff Riddles, talk to us about the changes and the improvements to the scouting, because I think it's really awesome.
Yeah, we've Adam, do you want to flip it? There we go. You got the old screenshot with the missing color for the lower Midwest area, but that's fine. That's fixed now. Actually, that screenshot's a couple of weeks old. We've simplified and made scouting a little more visual now. You can see there you can set up a head scout and a specific advanced scout, the guy that's going to look at other teams in your league. And then each scout now has a specific state, or it's a state, or for some countries, a particular region they're based in, and that affects your overall scouting score in that area, and which will affect the effectiveness of your scouting. And Adam, do you have? I can't remember if you have a shot of the players for the new player profile screen in there.
I don't think I do right now, Jeff.
No, it's okay. So you can't see it there, but what we do have, what we've added there is a second component to the scouting score of a player. So previously, if you had scouted the guy to the maximum level possible, you'd be an A. Now there's a second letter on there that also gives you an idea of how likely he is to hit his overall potential, and that's another A through E rating, I think. So that gives you a little more information there, and we've also done something that's built into the new draft system where we do things like mock drafts, and then there's a post-draft evaluation of how your team and other teams did.
Love it. Yeah, this is really, really cool again. And Jeff, I mean, a lot of this you already have had on your own roadmap, right, and wish list for years. But a lot of this also comes directly from the community, right?
Yeah, we had a lot of people have commented, and I think anybody who's watched the stream has seen the way Adam needed to hire, what was it, about 9 million scouts per team.
Oh, come on.
Okay. Oh, what? Sorry, 8 million? A little closer.
About 90 maxed out.
But yeah, that gave you so it's not really necessary now, and you can see exactly what kind of an effect visually your scouts are going to have in each region without having to figure out, have I got enough Eastern European scouts? Do I have enough guys in Germany, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a little more visual, a lot more fun to get through, and you don't have without having to do all the fiddly little work of assigning them to specific places.
I love it, and you can never have enough scouts in Germany. We already know that. Some other really cool things that are going on, and again, we can spend a lot of time on each one of these, but I want to make sure we hit on some of the other things. Adam, I know you're excited about this. Farm team control. For the very first time, you have complete control over your entire organization, and that complete control includes things like being able to set the lineups for your farm clubs and having more control over your staff. Talk to me about what that means and why you think it's again such a cool new addition to the series.
Yeah, as we said, one of the things in the trailer was we were listening to the community, and the community told us they wanted to have more control over what is going on in the minor leagues, because if you have a top prospect, you want him playing and hopefully joining your top team sooner rather than later. So it's really exciting to be able to help give that control and make sure, your 21-year-old, possibly up to 4-star or 5-star guy is going to get a chance to blossom in the AHL if he's trying to move to the NHL or work his way up. And that's really exciting to see.
Love it. All right, another big thing that I think, again, as me, A, as an old man, and B, as somebody who loves history, right? We talk a lot about our games in terms of, what's brand new for this season and what's coming up, but there's also huge amounts of history. And one of the big additions, historically speaking, is the introduction of brand new international tournaments, historic international tournaments. Things like the famous Summit Series, right? The 1980 Olympics, right? The Miracle on Ice, some old Canada Cups, things like that. Jeff,
Adam has some screenshots here for here of those.
Yeah, talk to me about sort of what drove this and what all we can do with these great new historical international tournaments.
Well, what we've added to historical play right now is most of the key international tournaments. It's all of the Olympic tournaments going back to, I think it's 1920 is the first one, as well as the two Summit Series in the 1970s, the 1972 one against Soviets against the NHL, and then the 74 one against the WHA players. As well, we also added the Canada Cups in from 76 through, was it 2000, Adam? I think it's 2000.
So sorry, the Canada Cups?
No, that's too far. No, I'm thinking 1990. I mean,
yeah, 96 was the first World Cup.
Yeah, World Cup. There was the World Cup after that. The World Cups are not actually.
Team USA won it in '96. Darn right, we did.
Yeah. World Cups aren't actually in yet. That'll probably be the next thing we add in an update. So it's very high on the list. Then after that, what else we got? Well, we got the. I think also coming later this year are going to be the smaller. Soviet Canada or NHL games from the 80s and 90s. So no, the Summit, the Challenge Cup in 79, Rendezvous 87 and 87, obviously.
So
then after that, in going further down the road, what won't be coming this year would be the World Championships and World Juniors, but that will eventually happen. But there's a little more database work that is going to have to happen first, and that's not something we're going to have time to do this time around.
So for all the great stuff that's in this year's game, including again those Summit Series, the Canada Cups, where did the players come from, and can we choose it? Is it set? Is there what are the options you have with these?
Well, the players originally the historical database was NHL players or WHA or Western Canada League players only. Then I've been adding a few other guys and some drafted players that didn't make the NHL over the years. But obviously that leaves a huge gap. That leaves out most of the great Soviet players and the Czechoslovak players from the 60s and 70s and 80s aren't there. So I had to, thanks to our partnership with Elite Prospects, I was able to import a lot of the roster data from all the Olympics and a few of the World Championships.
Nice.
And other tournaments. And what I did was I built upon that to get pretty much anybody who's played in those tournaments for the teams that we've got in the game over the years, added all those players. The accuracy level for the lower end of them isn't quite what it would be for most of the players in the regular historical database. They're at approximately the right level, but they might not be quite perfect. Other than, it's easier to do, easy to do ratings for somebody like Kharlamov or Tretiak or the other top end players. There's plenty of data on them. But for somebody who played, one game for Belgium in 1920s, I just have to go with some sort of an approximation. But
yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, the real names are all there, and you're able to name your own team. So if you want to set up the 72 Summit Series with exactly the same players the teams had, you can do that. Or if you want to select, I think you can see on the screenshot Adam's showing now, Bobby Orr, who was injured during that series and didn't play, but he was on the team for that simulation.
Nice.
So
Very cool.
Gets a little help there. But you can choose who goes on all the international teams. You can try and in 1980, you can try and rebuild the Miracle on Ice team.
I gotta imagine if you play the Miracle on Ice in 1980 Olympics 100 times, Team USA might win it twice, maybe. I mean, that's something that I'm very interested in checking out. It doesn't, that team was underdog. It isn't even close to an accurate word to describe that team. Cool. All right. So we talked a little bit about it, but let's get a little bit more into some of the amazing customization options. Adam, custom leagues are a big part of Franchise Hockey Manager 7, you can really, you can really do some amazing things when it comes to world building. Talk to us, Adam, about the changes when it comes to custom leagues.
Sure. As you can see from the screenshot posting here, again, another one of the big things we've had to ask from the community was the ability to add more leagues and to help create a more drawing a blank on the word I wanted to use, a bigger world, bigger hockey world. So whereas Custom League in FHM 6 was based on the NHL, AHL, CHL tier structures, you're now going to be able to add additional leagues across the world that can range and be equivalent to the NHL or the AHL or the CHL or somewhere in between, depending on how you choose to set them. And so that's really exciting if you want to create this more big world.
Nice.
Yeah, and you can do various things like specify the relationships from one league to the other. Adam, I think you got one of the fictional league setup screens in there too. There's a screenshot somewhere.
It's coming on. I think.
It's in the trailer if it's not there. Yeah, there we go. And you can see the top league type is set to junior league, so you can specify the type of league it is. Is it a farm type of league? Is it a junior league feeding up to a higher level? And you can see there's a line there that says connected major leagues. So this particular one that's being set up here is a junior league that feeds into the draft for the top level league in this, which is just named Hockey League in this case. But you can set up the relationships like that. You can set up farm parent things and pretty much whatever you can think of. I think we've only scratched the surface of that so far. I'm sure people will come up with all sorts of interesting things. And another thing you can do now is set up custom playoff formats. You're not limited to those 12, 15, whatever it was, fixed formats that we had since I think going back to 3 or 4 whenever we added those in. But you can specify particular playoff formats, how you want the seeding to work, a number of teams, and so on.
Love it. And again, this is the kind of stuff that I know that that people have been asking for. Not that the custom leagues prior to this were any slouches, but you've really taken it and blown it up exponentially, and I think it's fantastic. All right, let's talk about a few other things. So historical editing, Jeff, this is another, comes from the community. It's the kind of thing that's been on the roadmap, but the community clearly, communicated what they want to do with editing historical stuff. Talk to us a little bit about what that is and what it means.
Yeah, well, we added historical editing to the historical game last year where you could change the structure of the leagues and remove teams, add teams and whatnot. The problem was the way we did it last year, once you started making changes, that sort of froze everything in place. And from that point on, you had to make every other change yourself. You couldn't continue on getting the historical. You couldn't say add a couple of teams to the league, but then keep everything going and still get the regular expansion teams coming in at the historical times. Now you've got the ability to turn that on and off. Do we have a screenshot of that, Adam?
No, we
think
don't,
so.
sir.
Oh, we don't?
No.
I think I'm pretty sure it's in the trailer. There's a long list of things you can turn on and off. If you want leagues like the WHA appearing when they did historically, you can turn that on, or you can turn it off. It's on by default. But if you want the WHA to go on indefinitely, you can just turn off the setting that will kill it in 1979, and it'll keep going. And the same thing, if you don't want the Cleveland Barons to die, you can turn off the setting that removes the teams when they go defunct historically. And there's a few things. There's also similar things like that. Like if you don't want rules changing in a particular year, or scoring levels. Can't remember the whole list right now, but basically all of that stuff is customizable now. If you want to have control over it, you can and edit it constantly. Or if you want to just turn it off, or turn on, leave it set on, even though you're changing other things, you can go with that too. So you're a lot more flexible in what you can do with historical editing now.
Excellent. So we spent some time talking about history. Now, obviously, 2020 is the weirdest year ever, the weirdest NHL season ever. Last year's season, obviously, which was postponed for a while, but then ultimately they did the return to play, and the Tampa Bay Lightning won the Stanley Cup, which, of course, the return to play in Franchise Hockey Manager 6. Talk to us about the plans, what we've done for the 2020/2021 season experience, Jeff, because obviously we're in a sort of this awkward spot where the NHL hasn't sort of finalized its plans, but obviously we want to put our best version of the game forward. So talk to me about what, as it stands right now, right, as it stands right now, and sort of also what we're thinking for when the 2021 NHL season happens. So talk to us about what you get right now when you pick it up and start playing it on December 16th with the 2021.
Well, what
NHL.
we had been kind of hoping with the later release date is that we'd have some certainty about what was going to be going on with the NHL and other leagues by this point, and it would be getting even more certain as we get closer to release date. Instead, we're going in the other direction, and nobody seems to be sure about what's going on right now. So originally, the plan was to give you the option of playing out a season that would have occurred more or less normally, regular start times, regular schedule lengths, and all of that. And that's what we're using for testing right now. And that's what will be in the game to begin with. But what we also want to do is give you the option, if for some reason you really want to play it out with, the way things actually went, is give you the real schedules and give you the real formats, however many games leagues actually wind up playing this year, or at least intend to as of release time. That's, as of right now, it's looking, unless we find out unless the NHL makes a definitive announcement and publishes a schedule within the next week or so, because it's not just us waiting on them. Other leagues are kind of looking to them to see what they're going to do too, particularly the AHL, obviously, and probably the ECHL too. So if they don't do that within the next week or so, I think we probably won't have the option to start with the 2021 COVID season, whatever you want to call that. Whatever you want to call that.
Let's not call it that. Let's call it anything but that.
Anything but that. But the realistic, for better or worse, season with not many international tournaments being played and no European Championship, et cetera, and a few leagues. I mean, even the IHL in England and IHL and the Asian League aren't playing at all this year. Other leagues have moved their start dates. We'll try to get all that in as realistic as possible, even if it's a little weird to play. So if you really want to play with that for some reason, you'll be able to once we get some final news and can set that up. But you will still able to begin to play. I think what most people will want to do is just play out a good old regular 82 game. Everybody starts at the normal times version of 2021.
Right.
And then, of course, even if you go to if you start with that other version once we have it available, where you're playing the abbreviated schedules and the late starts, everything will go back to normal for 21-22.
Awesome.
Because let's hope that's actually what's going to happen.
Right. Yeah. And, look, everybody that knows what we're about knows that, we deliver updates all through the year. And as things happen, we'll put them into the game. Again, I mean, we supported Franchise Hockey Manager 6 up until and even past the return to play. So we'll be whatever happens out there, we'll do our best to get it into the game as much as possible.
Well, I just hit the wrong button. Sorry.
It happens, right? I can only imagine, Adam, you're back there furiously, like pressing all sorts of buttons, moving things around. You're trying to talk and also run a whole show. Not easy to do. There's a whole bunch of other stuff, some little things, some big things. Jeff, anything else you want to add? You want to talk about, like some new changes, expansion seasons, drafts, all sorts of things. Where do you want to head next?
Yeah, there's a couple of dozen other things I could talk about here on the list. One of the things we have done is switch the entry draft and other similar drafts for other leagues over to July instead of late June. So the big effect of that will mainly be for when you're expanding. Your expansion teams can now take part in all the drafts in their first year in the game instead of having to skip them like they used to. So that's meant a few changes. It looks a little different, but I mean, with the way the draft happened later this year, it doesn't seem that unrealistic. So we just moved it ahead a few days, and I think that's generally working a lot better and will be a lot more convenient for everybody to have it on that side of the changeover on July 1st.
It's got to be some other tricks up your sleeve too, right?
Yep, a few other things. We've done made some changes to the UI. The news is a lot easier to read. You get a lot more headlines. It looks a little more OOTP-like. The continue button, we've also gone into a similar direction with an OOTP has, where it will tell you a bit more about what's going on and what the next thing coming up on your schedule or the event schedule for the league is. We're not quite as configurable as they are yet, but we're moving in that direction, so we'll keep going in that. Let's see, what else have we got here? There's a few more things that are editable on the players and team and league screens now that weren't editable before that you can now. stuff like contract settings, let's see, league number of foreign players allowed in particular leagues. You can change that now.
Well, one other thing I was just add, and I don't think we've got to it, is career stats are now in the game too, right?
Oh yeah, well yeah, for historical seasons like in OOTP, you've been able for a few years now to look at players' real stats from his entire career when you're playing out a historical game, even if he hasn't reached those seasons yet. And now that's FHM has the same thing. You can, if you're playing in 1979 and you want to look at how Gretzky's whole career turned out for some reason, you can just go to his player screen and click on his real stats page, and it will display his real scoring totals, even though you're still 20 years from the end of his career.
There's another.
So it lets you cheat a little bit if you're going to do that during the draft, but still.
There's another long requested feature: schedule editing. Schedules can now be exported for editing and then re-imported. I know people have been asking for this for a long time. It's in the game.
Yep, you can take it out, edit it a little bit, and then bring it back in. So you're able to do that now. A lot of people have been requesting that, so we put it in. Oh, another thing I should mention on the UI stuff, Sebastian came up with a couple of new screens for stuff like the draft lottery and the awards announcements and the Hall of Fame inductions that are a little more splashy. I think we've got one of them in the trailer. I don't think Adam has a screenshot of it, or it might be on the screenshots in Steam if you want to have a look at the Steam store page. But you get a little display of players being the players' face gen portrait and what award they've won, or a little career summary if they're going to the Hall of Fame, that sort of thing. It's just a little nicer looking.
And Adam, be honest, you were the person completely behind the waiver and the interleague drafts, right? The waiver draft has been added to historical play when it existed, along with its predecessor, the intra-league draft. And both are available as options that can be activated for any other type of league. Adam, this has your fingerprints all over it.
Well, I mean, how can you not love something that calls back to the 80s and 90s, Rich? I mean, that's a fun time in hockey.
Are you trying to tell me I'm old? I already know that, Adam. I'm already aware.
I think a lot of hockey fans have wistful days, and even the NHL with their announcements of their new jerseys kind of call back to that. And so the interleague and draft is one of those parts, and waiver drafts where funny things can have kind of happened in history. So,
and
they're basically the very similar things. Just the waiver draft was at the beginning of the season. The interleague draft was at the end.
You also wanted an excuse to show that great old Hartford Whalers logo too. I know that.
Any chance?
You can never go wrong.
Gotta love the whale.
Brass Bonanza, baby. Brass Bonanza. Adam, any other things that you wanted to mention? So whether the big, little, or anything in between.
I think Jeff covered a lot of it, but if you didn't notice as we were flipping back and forth, the inbox got a little bit of an update as well here, so you can just see one from this.
Yeah, there we go.
On, and you can see now that the inbox is done by league, and you'll see team logos too pop up for things important to you as well.
Excellent. Jeff, you got any other items you want to add? Big, little, small, anything?
Little things you can. The player and staff search now has a team search tab as well, so you can look up team names if you're not sure where a particular team is. There's the filters had some stuff added to it, so you can filter by minimum ratings. If you want to find particular players that are above a certain level in ratings, you can do that. There's let's see, a couple little things. When your players we borrowed the thing from OOTP where you can designate a player as an untouchable on your team, so you won't get any trade offers, won't be annoyed by trade offers for that guy. And you can do the same thing if you don't want a player on another team. You can specifically tag him as that, so the other team won't offer him to you in a trade.
By the way, there's a question from one of our beta testers. He says, hey, are the beta testers allowed to help out with the questions the chat has? The answer is absolutely yes, and thank you for being a beta tester. The beta testing team is hugely important in getting this game delivered to everybody. So thank you. And yeah, for sure, ask away. A few questions, and these are I'm just grabbing these from the chat. And we're going to ignore Nicolino asking why the Islanders are in first place. Nicolino, you love to troll me wherever I go. It's amazing. Somebody said it just joined. Is the sim speed improved? And Jeff, you mentioned earlier, the sim speed is not only improved, it's dramatically improved, right?
Yeah, we've done a few things to speed up a little bit. I mean, I wouldn't say it's necessarily dramatically improved, but it will play through a little faster than it used to. What we did was clean up some unnecessary database stuff that was slowing the game down a bit. So that will speed things up a bit. And I mean, whenever we make an improvement like that, we always wind up clawing some of it back by doing other interesting things with the game AI and some roster AI improvements that you wind up using some of that extra speed we get. Another thing we've done sort of in that vein, it's actually directly related to the database cleanup stuff. When you get farther into a game, it won't eat up as much memory as it used to. So you won't depending on what how much RAM you've got, you won't run into problems, say 30 or 40 years in. It stabilizes eventually and you can go on. I'm not sure how far anybody's made it in so far, but it's more or less indefinite now. It would take a long time, as long as you've got, say, about 8 or better yet 16 gigs of memory. It's going to be very hard to run into stability issues.
Some other questions. Our good friend Stanley Cup Chaser says, will the import photo function work in all versions?
I'll have an answer for that next week. I think we've got to do some work on the FastSpring version this week, so I'm not entirely certain about that yet. Still waiting to hear back on that, so I'll probably know by roughly this time next week. I'll let you know in the forum.
All right, good stuff. A few questions from Magic. He says, has there been a change made to simplify how multiplayer games are handled, updated? Any updates, modifications to the multiplayer games, Jeff?
Yeah, we've made a few improvements there. Not a lot of multiplayer specific stuff. I'm trying to think here. There was a little problem with passwords being visible in plain text in one of the files that one of our testers pointed to us, so we just cleaned that up a little while ago. One thing that's probably going to help a lot of multiplayer leagues, we fixed a few things in the CSV exports, so you'll be able to get a little more information out of those, and there were a couple of issues that cleaned up in that end. You can also export box scores now.
Another question.
Multiplayer guys were asking for that.
Awesome. That's great. Another question. Can AI trade difficulty be adjusted? Is that an option?
No, I don't think we've really changed anything there.
All right.
It would be a little tricky to, I guess I can see how we could do it, but might be some point in the future.
Okay.
Let me just have a look through the questions here, see if there's anything that's that I can answer easily here.
Well, here's one that I know you guys can answer, right? So, which team will Adam and Jeff take over for the FHM 7 Let's Play? So, what are you thinking is going to be the first franchise that you take over when you launch your Franchise Hockey Manager 7 streams?
Good question. What are you looking at, Adam?
I think Adam might be having a coughing fit at the moment, right?
I think I'm okay. I think I got through it. Honestly, part of me is thinking about taking over Tampa Bay and completely blowing up the team, just to see how fun that would be.
Out of spite? Out of spite?
Partly, yes. Partly.
That's funny. Here's another one. This comes from our good friend Nicolino, who says, can players import old FHM games into 7, like taking a save game from 6 and importing it into 7?
Yep, just like we added in FHM 6, being able to import FHM 5 saves, you'll be able to do the same thing with FHM 6 saves. So if you've had a save going on since 5, you'll be able to get it, updated to 6 if you haven't done that already, and then continue it on in 7. You'll be missing some of the there's a few of anything that's database related that we've added in the new games.
Right.
We'll just sort of get placeholder values. We're just finalizing that up now, that'll be in a release. I don't think you're going to miss quite as much as you would have importing 5 to 6 last year, because the one thing that will be a little different, I should have mentioned before, we've changed the way player aging works and development, split that up into 2 ratings now. which makes it a little easier for us to model player career paths, and that kind of powers the thing I mentioned before about the scouting rating, where you had that second letter at the end of it, which tells you how likely the guy is to reach his potential. That's the a new aging attribute is what's influencing a lot of that. So that will get sort of a default value if you import it from 6, but it probably won't make that much of a difference to an ongoing game.
Gotcha. All right. Well, there is a whole lot more going on with Franchise Hockey Manager 7. Obviously, tonight is the reveal. The trailer is live. The pre-order option is live. If you want to pre-order it directly from us, you'll save 10%. The game comes out in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today, December 16th, Wednesday, December 16th. If you're a Steam person, you can put it on your Steam wish list right now. The Steam page is live. The Coming Soon page is live as well. So you can pre-order and or put it on your wish list as of right now. All the links are in the chat. If you're on our newsletter list, you'll be getting a newsletter shortly. You can take a look at it in a bunch of different ways. Adam, any final thoughts before we wrap it up tonight?
No, I'm just excited for everyone to be able to play it, Rich.
Same here. Jeff, final thoughts before we call it a reveal stream.
Just a question for you from Swedish Game Freak asking about the historical drafts. Yeah, I've done some work on that. One of the knock-on effects we've had from being able to add historical players who didn't get added, were international and didn't have NHL careers. It also lets me add guys who've been drafted by the NHL but aren't haven't played for a team yet. So what I did with that is go back in the draft, and I think it's 10, 15 years. I went back, I think about 2004 or so, and making sure all the guys in at least the first 2 rounds of the drafts are in. So that's there's a lot more draft fodder in the later years. And additionally, the 2020 guys, Lafreniere and et cetera, the guys who were drafted this year, will also be in the draft in 2020. So you don't get that year that's sort of empty before the fictional guys get kicked in if you run a historical game past the current date.
Fantastic. Love it. Adam, the community manager for Franchise Hockey Manager, thank you. Jeff Riddles, the producer of Franchise Hockey Manager, thank you guys both so much. We are all so excited. Once again, Franchise Hockey Manager 7 available worldwide December 16th. You can pre-order it right now, and you will get 10% off, and you will get a day and date on December 16th, and you can put it on your Steam wish list, and that will let you pick it up on the 16th for a 10% discount as well. So much more to talk about, to show with Franchise Hockey Manager 7. We have just started. Tonight is the reveal. Check out the trailer, hop on the forums, go into the Discord, continue the conversation. We are so thrilled to be able to bring Franchise Hockey Manager 7 to the world. Thank you so much to the Franchise Hockey Manager community. Again, it's been an incredible year this past season with the incredible growth of the Franchise Hockey Manager community. We're beside ourselves with happiness with how Franchise Hockey Manager 7 has come together. On behalf of everybody at Out of the Park Developments, thank you to everybody in the community. Thank you to everybody who is joining us tonight. Thank you to everybody who is pre-ordered or Steam wish listed. That means something. It means a lot, really, for you guys to do that. It's a validation that we're doing what you want us to do. So tell your friends, pre-order, wish list, and get ready to start playing Franchise Hockey Manager 7 on Wednesday, December 16th, 2 days from now. Jeff, thank you for being here, my friend. Adam, thank you for being here. And thank you to everybody tonight in the chat for being here. You guys are the best. We'll be back with a ton more information over the next couple of weeks. And then on the 16th, we'll all be playing Franchise Hockey Manager 7. So thank you, everybody, very much. Have yourselves a great night.
Live every moment. Franchise Hockey Manager 7 Officially licensed by the NHL. Feel every moment with a brand new 2D engine. New this season. Historical international tournaments. Relive or rewrite the past. A revamped custom league. Add more leagues at various levels to create your own universe. A new scouting interface. Finding great players has never been easier. And by popular demand, new features that you requested. Farm team control. Historical editing. Updated for the 2020-2021 season for every NHL club as well as international and minor leagues too. And so much more. Live every moment. Feel every moment. Act in every moment. All on the only NHL licensed PC game.